Hello, Professor McGuire, and in my Module 9 EQ tutorial video, I will be showing you how I EQ my clean electric guitars. I have this 4-measure guitar sample that I recorded. And that's what I'll be working with today. And the first thing that I like to do is I like to apply a high-pass filter to this. And I usually want to set this to around 100 hertz or so, 100 to 120, and make the cut usually a 12 or 18. And what this does, it doesn't do a lot to the sound itself, but it cuts out a lot of these low muddy frequencies that you don't really hear, and it creates a lot more headroom for the kick drum and for the bass, and it adds clarity is the best way to really describe it. Afterwards, the next thing that I like to do is try to filter out some offending frequencies on this, and usually, at least on this guitar, come in the form of low mids, anywhere from the 200 to 600 hertz range. So playing this, I'll make the Q factor a little smaller. And if you move it around close to 500, you hear that ringing? Yeah, that ringing is what we don't want. So what I'll do, once I hear that, I'll move it, once I'm at that frequency, I'll make a cut of around -3 decibels to really just add some clarity to it. So if I'm bypassing it, this is it without any EQ whatsoever. And that is with the EQ. I'm recording this on my phone, so it might not show up. The quality might not show up as well on the phone, but hopefully it will. And so then, usually the last thing I do, because I actually don't try to do a ton when I'm EQing this, because I like to approach mixing from a less is more standpoint, because I found that it's very easy to overmix something. What I like to do is that usually there is a frequency range on the guitar that really pops out, and it really helps the instrument stand out and really shine in the mix. And so what I'll do is I'll basically do the same thing that I did with this one, where I put the band up really high and moved it around until I found what didn't work, but except I'll do it until I find what does work. So if I take the high mids, and then moving this around, see, it starts to, those really nice sounding high mid frequencies really kind of make this guitar stand out. So making a boost of around 2 to 3 decibels usually does the trick. And from there, we can see with bypassed. So that's it without any EQ. And that's it with the EQ that I applied. The sound shouldn't sound too different on its own, but really what it's doing is I'm giving the guitar its own space, and it would be a lot easier to explain this if I had other instruments in the mix to compare it with, but sadly enough I don't. And that is how I EQ my guitars.